Frazier, and thank you for following True School Sports.
There you go. The champ, all the way. Thank you.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, before we proceed any further, make sure you guys smash that bell notification button down below so you get all the videos, all the alerts, all the coverage here on True School Sports. There are a lot of videos that do come out here, and a lot of great videos at that. So I don't want you to miss any videos. So if you want to get them when they come out, smash that bell notification and do yourself a favor. But there was a world title fight that happened 2 weeks ago during the same week that I was covering Luke Keeler versus Demetrius Andrade, and that world title fight took place between Ilunga Makabu and Michael Cesliak from Poland. Now, these guys fought for the vacant WBC title at cruiserweight, and this fight was interesting to me for a number of reasons. And I want to outline them here. This fight almost didn't even happen. That's right, this fight almost didn't even happen because Makabu had signed a promotional deal with Don King last year, which, you know, it's 2020. I don't know why any fighter would sign with Don King now. You'll get a world title shot, but in most cases you're not going to be very active, and you will have some sort of legal problems. Like that's at the very best you're going to have legal problems because Don King doesn't have the same pull that he used to have. You know, this isn't 2002. This isn't 1995. It's not that way. It's not how it used to be with Don King. But anyway, Don King signed Makabu to make this fight, and then intention was to bring Makabu to the Congo and kind of create like another Rumble in the Jungle type of event. And then so then Makabu tried. I guess the people that organized the fight, they tried to get the fight done without Don King, and then that forced Don King to send a cease and desist letter to the WBC, and he tried to actually block the fight and prevent it from happening, but it didn't happen. The fight did take place in Makabu's homeland of the Congo, with all the chaos that surrounded Makabu and Don King and getting the venue squared away and things like that. You know, there was a lot of questions from Cesliak's team, you know, about proof of funds. So they actually wound up demanding proof of funds, even going as far as to film the money exchanging hands so that there's nothing going crazy. So the buildup was just crazy. The buildup was crazy. And that's what it was. But as for the fight itself, it took place in the Congo. This was Makabu's second crack at the WBC world title. Obviously, he had this first WBC title shot against Tony Bellew in that wildly entertaining fight at Goodison Park, home of the Everton Football Club, at Goodison Park in the summer of 2016. And he scored a knockdown in that fight, but then he also got knocked down. He got knocked out himself in the I think it was the third round. So he has matured since then. He's fought some decent opposition on the way back. You know, most notably in his last two fights, he's fought the likes of Dmitry Kudryashov and Alexei Papin. Now, from the Michael Cesliak point of view, you know, he's pretty much a domestic level Polish fighter. You know, he really hasn't beaten many top fighters or any names that we recognize. But if you go look at his resume, there's this one African fighter he beat who was 29-6. I can't pronounce his name, but in his last fight, right before this one, he beat a 29-6 African fighter. And this African fighter actually had actually fought Dmitry Kudryashov twice, and he split Kudryashov, but he actually stopped Kudryashov in 2015. So that was probably his best one that I could find on his resume. So he came into this fight relatively unproven, fighting a guy in Makabu who, you know, was trying to become world champion, who was very hungry, who had been at this level before but hadn't been successful. But he had the advantage of having been in a world title fight before, as to where with this guy, he had never been in a world title fight. And on top of that, if we talk about styles, Makabu, I've always classified Makabu as a short, aggressive counterpuncher, kind of like a shorter, stockier Adonis Stevenson, who puts more pressure on you. And he fought, and this guy, the Polish guy, he's just, you know, whatever you think a Polish fighter is, that's what he was. You know, he's comfortable from the outside. He's kind of good at mid range, but once you smell that distance, he's not as effective. So, getting into the fight, you know, the fight really began to pick up around the third round. We got some really good exchanges, and this is when Makabu looked like he was beginning to gain the respect of Michael Cesliak. And honestly, I'm not even sure that's how you say his name, but so excuse my pronunciation if I'm wrong. But Michael Cesliak or whatever, the Polish guy, the Polish fighter. He was getting the Polish fighter's respect, landing these crisp straight left hands, and it was going to set up great things to come in the rounds as the fight progressed. When the fight got to the fourth round, Makabu actually hurt Michael with a body shot, and then there was kind of like a delayed reaction, and Michael kind of looked at the ref, but the ref didn't do anything, and then Makabu ran up on him and hit him with another left hand. He scored a knockdown. He went flying to the canvas, and the crowd in the Congo just went nuts. You could see people jumping out of their seats, running from their seats towards the ring. I mean, it was absolute pandemonium, absolute mayhem, absolute bedlam in the Congo. Okay, now round 5, Michael responds, and he actually scores a knockdown of his own. He lands a good counter right hand on the chin of Makabu. Makabu didn't get really hurt by it, but he got knocked off balance and his glove grazed and touched the canvas. So he worked his way back into the fight, and then it just seemed from there like from the Polish fighter really couldn't put the pressure that he needed to put on Makabu to win the fight, because there was a lot of posturing. There was a lot of just not enough activity for me, and not even for me, for himself, because Makabu is one of those fighters that when he hits you with the left hand, he will get you respect. He will get you respect, and you got to be an absolutely crazy fighter to sit there and trade with him. But Michael stood there. He postured. He wasn't as active as he should have been, and this allowed Makabu to throw punches, to back him up, and to fight his fight. And when you get Makabu on the front foot, and when you allow him to throw left hands and then pivot and then step to his right and just throw these combinations and roll and slip, you are playing with fire. And the irony is, Michael worked his way back into the fight, and he fought well in spots of the fight as it progressed, but he never really seemed to build off of the knockdown. And what we ultimately got was Makabu outworking Michael to a unanimous decision. There were points where Michael was sitting there posturing, and Makabu just was piecing him up. One time, I think it was in the 7th round, he knocked out his mouthpiece. So it was another quality win for Ilunga Makabu. And he started to stack up some names on his resume. We look at his resume. I thought the Alexei Papin win was a great win for him, considering the fact that he's had to go on the road to Russia, and he won it by the hairs of his chin, by like a point. And that knockdown in that fight was the difference. Had he not got that, it was probably a draw. We're not talking about him being world champion right now, but he beat Papin, which I think was probably in my opinion, the best win of his career, even better than this one. Then he beat Kudryashov, a tough, dangerous puncher. That was a great performance for him. Before he lost to Bellew, he had defeated the likes of Tabasio Umchunu, who was a durable African fighter who many of us may remember fought Alexander Usyk early on in his career. And then he also became the only man besides Bernard Hopkins to stop the great Glenn Johnson. And that's saying something, because Glenn Johnson's fought a great fighter. So we look at Makabu, he's stacking up some great names, and now he has the very distinguished honor of being the only current active world champion from the continent of Africa. So just big shout out to Ilunga Makabu, and what was a solid performance for him against, not the best opponent in the world, but a guy that was, ranked and they put there in the title fight. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him because he was only a couple of moments away from beating Tony Bellew. And how great does that win back in 2016 look for Tony Bellew? Because Makabu has gotten better since that win, and he's went on to become world champion since that win. So for those of you guys who want to shit on Tony Bellew's resume and say he wasn't good and he was this and he was that at cruiserweight, I mean, look at what Makabu's doing, and look what Bellew did to him, and it makes you respect what he did, and it makes you respect him to the fact that he was crazy to sit there and trade with him. I mean, there's not many fighters that would do that with Makabu, because his left hand is so dangerous, and it gets you respect when it lands. So, hey, shout out to him. He's the only active African world champion in the sport of boxing right now, and he deserves it, man. He deserves it, and he's a fun fighter to watch, someone that I'm a fan of. And I look forward to seeing what he does. There's obviously that he could probably go fight the winner of Marius Briedis versus Junior Doticos. And you know what? I like his chances against any of those guys. I like his chances. He's fighting with a lot of confidence right now. He's one of the rare fighters in boxing where it doesn't matter where he fights. It doesn't matter if he fights you in your country, his country, a neutral country. He will find a way to get the job done and put that pressure on your ass. So shout out to Makabu on becoming Congo's world champion. and the only current African world champion in boxing right now, flying the flag high for the whole continent of Africa right now. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Ilunga Makabu is a world champion. He beats Michael Cieslak from Poland, the previously undefeated Michael Cieslak from Poland, and he's here, he's champ, and you gotta put some respect on his name. So yeah, leave your comments down below. Make sure you take the time to subscribe, and like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take your eyes.
Let's go, champ! It's the champ, Shannon the Cannon Briggs, and you're watching True School Sports. Let's go, champ!
When I make myself crystal clear, you flip to Cape Phil when I lace you up in Zaire. Tussle with a lasso in the Royal Rumble. Separate boys from men in the concrete jungle.